Hello again, Steve here with a few comments about Norman Vincent Peale and the power of positive thinking. Once again, if you're looking for me on the web, go to innergenie.com. That's where I have my books link, my video links, and my old blog links, and so on. So have a look there. But anyways, Norman Vincent Peale and the power of positive thinking. I had never read this book before, but I had read excerpts and had watched a number of videos of Norman Vincent Peale speaking, and I just picked up his book today and read some of it. It was very, very interesting. It's a lot of it is pretty, foundational positive personal development stuff, right? I mean, some people call him the grandfather of this whole genre of positive thinking. And of course, he was a minister, church minister. So a lot of his teachings in positive thinking are blended into scriptural quotes and so on, which is fine. I mean, it works for him. It's basically the affirmations, essentially. A lot of it is. At least the short-term stuff is affirmations. He calls it prayer, but it's really affirmations as far as I know. And he uses the term affirmations as well, I think. So I think this is very timely, though, because, and I've mentioned this before as well on different videos, and I'm surprised not many people are bringing this up. But this is really the foundation, part of the foundation of Trump, and the force of nature known as Trump. And whether we individually hate or love Trump, if we're not learning something about life through the phenomenon of Trump, I don't think we're trying, especially if we want to improve ourselves. Because the guy, I mean, he is basically a force of nature. I mean, he's got the world, a vast majority of the world against him, and he just continues to plow on. Whether he'll succeed in what he wants to do, who knows if he can overcome that. But the fact that he's gotten as far as he has, just, I mean, if we're not learning from this, we're not trying. We're totally ideological, I would say, if we're not learning. Because even if we hate somebody, if we think somebody's evil, if they're amazingly effective at what they do, surely there's something we can learn from them, right? Anyways, that was a bit of a rant, which I tend to go on, a diversion. Anyways, just a few comments on Norman Vincent Peale. And what was interesting is, I like the study of confidence, because confidence is what we really need to succeed, right? I mean, when we have this self-doubt and everything, there's stuff floating within us, and whole societies can be brought down. I mean, I'm right now in northern Mexico visiting some people, and had a good discussion a couple of days ago about the character of the Mexican character that is exhibited in many of the citizens. And you can see that the level of dysfunction within the society is a measure of that. The guy that I was talking to actually used the term loser attitude. There's a vast amount of loser attitude in Mexico, and therefore they can't, because we were talking about soccer and how Mexico does not produce good soccer players. And his opinion was, well, basically, in order to be a good soccer player, you have to have a winning attitude, because that's how you got to win, right? And Mexico, in general, people have a loser attitude here, and they don't. As a result, one of the results is they don't produce good soccer players. And I think it comes down to confidence. And I'll just read a couple of quotes that Norman Vincent Peale had to do with confidence. He says, "Self-confidence leads to self-realization and successful achievement." Right? I would say that it doesn't necessarily, because people can be foolhardy, and at least that could be seen as confidence, but it could result in disaster as well. But real solid sort of calm confidence, especially when it's coupled to competence, is definitely going to lead to successful achievement. And of course, self-realization, he goes on to talk about that. He talks about overcoming this inferiority complex, which he says in this particular chapter that I was reading is kind of the root, if you will, or at least it's a precursor to this lack of confidence, is this inferiority complex, which many, many people suffer from. And he talks about what's required, in his opinion, to overcome this. He says, first of all, we must discover why we have these feelings of no power. And I thought that was very profound, because I certainly believe in that as well, as the importance of self-knowledge. In fact, in the mission statement of the Inner Genie Project is to encourage men and women to have self-knowledge, self-confidence, and fulfillment in life. So it kind of goes with that flow. We have to have self-knowledge, at least degrees of self-knowledge, in order to overcome these feelings of inferiority complex. We got to understand where they're coming from. And I think the more we can dig into our past and recognize it, not to necessarily rehash it and bubble it up and stew in it, but to understand, right? Understand that we are imprinted. We're the sum total of our, not only our genetics, but our environmental influences. And this is incredibly powerful. If we understand that, then if we're able to have been imprinted, then we can begin to reprint and act as if, right? And then, so that was his first step. But he was using this story of this guy he was trying to, who had asked him, look, I got this serious project coming up. I got to sell this thing or to make this big business deal or whatever. And I got incredible lack of confidence, this inferiority complex. This guy was trying to get Norman Vincent Peale to help him with this. And Norman Vincent Peale said, well, there's no quick fix for this. I mean, that is a very honest approach. There's no quick fix to years and years and years and years of self-programming into this inferiority complex, right? But in the short term, Norman Vincent Peale's approach to this guy is, you know, if you've got this religion called you believe in this Christ, well then, you know, really get in touch with it. But don't just superficially ask Christ to fix your life. It's really an internal reflection. And in my opinion, it's a psychological trick in a way. I mean, Christ, as I see it, is like this archetype, this ideal, spiritual, confident archetype of goodness and success and getting things done and so on and so on. And if we can invoke that in ourselves, stir that aspect of ourselves, that Christ nature within ourselves, then we can actually, and he says, you know, he's a minister for many, many years and well, he ministered over Donald Trump, you know, and Donald Trump has achieved quite a bit. And he would never be accused of lacking in confidence. We couldn't make that case. Whether we agree with him or love him or not, we can't say that, no, Donald Trump is suffering from a great degree of inferiority complex. I don't think anybody in their right mind would honestly admit that. But these, you know, he ministered over many, many people, and he said significantly, people can rise from this inferiority complex by both working on themselves in terms of discovery of what are the roots of these things, but also invoking this Christ within them, right? And he talks about it very, very clearly. We can't just be praying over superficialities and asking him for this and gumballs and whatever. It's like when something really is important, almost like life and death, I got to get this done or I'm going to lose my house or something like that. If we really, really get in touch with ourselves, it's not like this Christ character is going to come out and manifest stuff for us out of the ether. No, it drives us up in confidence to actually go out and confidently ask people, make deals, and not falter in terms of what it is that the possibility that of us to be confident. I think that's what the point he's making. So some valuable points here. And I think this works for, you know, wouldn't matter what, I don't think it would matter a whole lot, perhaps it does, although the Christians, they have this concept of personal God, which is very powerful because it can be embodied within self. Whereas you look at Islam and so on, I don't think that's the case. As far as I know, like Islam, they have this prophet, which is not God, so it's not as high of a level, and they have this father God, this Allah, who's not accessible, basically, who's, you know, is quite angry at them a lot of the time, actually. Whereas this Christ character actually in the story actually loves them. So it's an aspect of self, call it inner child or whatever, which is not inhibited by all the programs that have been laid on top, and the accessing of that which actually loves self. It's like a pure sense of ego and a sort of an innocent sense of ego that wants success and is not does not lack in, it does not have this inferiority complex. I mean, think about the baby that can take off its diaper and run around. It doesn't care. It's got no inhibitions, right? Well, there's that aspect that still lives within ourselves in which we can go for something, using the rational mind to plan it out, and then invoking this irrational animal that does not have the fear of inferiority and so on. So it's a very interesting blend, and it's something for us for all to discover, I think. So yeah, I'm going to be reading more of it, and I think it's a very something that many people who haven't taken the time to explore the power of positive thinking in terms of in affirmations and in self-discovery, I think is very, very powerful. Steve here again, great chatting. If you like what I'm doing, please like, subscribe, and share. And by all means, visit me at innergenie.com. Talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.